Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Brandon Egley. I'm the Customer Success Manager in Emergency and Safety here at Telelink. And I'm going to take you through the SafetyAware app today. Today's video is meant to be an overview, a lot of the main functionality and the how-to of the day in and day out use of the SafetyAware app and what you'll typically encounter and what that process looks like. So let's get started. First things first, I have the login screen here. As you can all see, I have my email address and I've inputted my password, as well as I have the Remember Me toggle on. So what this is going to allow me to do is the first time I'm setting up the app, I would put my email address in. I'll have received an email to set a password. I set the password I want to utilize, and then essentially by toggling on this Remember Me here, it'll allow me going forward every time I open the screen to this login screen here, I can just hit the login because my credentials will be saved. Something to bear in mind that is available to you, you can see at the bottom there's a forgot password. So if at some point in time you have forgotten your password, or should you choose to change your password at some point, you can simply press on that forgot password when you've put your email address into that box at the top, and that'll send you that email, reset your email password once again. You're able to update or change your password as required. We'll go ahead, we're going to log into the app. So we can see we've logged in. At the top, it lets us know we're in a not monitored state, and we can see here, please go sign on to use all functions of the app. So at this point in time, I've logged in, but I'm not actively online and monitored at this point. I do need to sign on in order to be actively monitored and put the app into a state where I have my safety timer, I have the cadence at which I need to check in throughout the day. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. We're going to tap on the sign on button. It's going to bring up the sign on form. We can see here it has a date and time. So we're just going to decide for the purposes here, let's say we're going to work till 5:30 today. That's when we plan to have our session, our safety session that's monitored end. A couple other things on this form here, manual location. So if you go to hit sign on with this and it gives you some feedback that your GPS location is inaccurate, you can still sign on, you can still get online and be monitored. You would just need to fill in the manual location. You want to give some descriptors of either the address you're at, or it could be a descriptor of what office, what floor, where you're working. But whatever detail you can give in the manual location, that's just going to allow you to still sign on, give detail to the monitor center in the event something does occur and they need to follow up. But generally speaking, the smartphone device will be able to connect to GPS and have an accurate location. As well, if you need to utilize the manual location at any point in time, once the smartphone device does pick up your GPS location again, it'll continue to start utilizing that GPS coordinate and the accurate location that you have. Subsequently, the comment section below, should you want to add some comments into your sign-on at this point. As an example, starting my shift, we can add that in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit sign on. So what we can see here is a couple things have changed on the main screen. I've got that nice green bar along the top now, and instead of not monitored, I have a check mark with normal. That's letting me know I'm online. The big indicator that lets me know that I have successfully signed on is we can see that safety timer in the middle of the screen there. In this case, I have a 2-hour safety timer, so I am required with this configuration to send a check-in every 2 hours at a minimum. I don't have to wait that long. I can do a check-in more regularly. Just depends on what cadence works as you're moving around, but the timer's there in order to reinforce what time, based on the policy and the procedures of your organization, you do need to be sending a check-in at a minimum. To set, what we simply need to do is the green check mark that is beside the timer, we can tap on that. You can see my second check-in was successfully sent. As well, my timer reset. So that's just letting me know I have sent a check-in. I'm putting through to monitoring. I'm okay. Letting the platform know I'm okay. I've sent that check-in. Everything is good. And again, I don't have to wait for this timer to come down to 0. I can send as many of these as I want on whatever cadence or frequency I so choose works. So maybe I'm doing my shift, doing my job, and I know that I'm going to be at something for the next hour, hour and a half. You may want to hit a check-in at that point in time. In this example, we have 2 hours, and it's going to allow us to have the full 2 hours, and then as I complete the task that I'm working on, I can open the app back up and again send through another check-in here. Something else that's changed, the sign off time, as we set there at 5:30. That's when I plan to end my monitored session. Let's say something comes up and I've decided that I do need to work a little bit longer. I want my monitor session to extend or shorten in the inverse to the example, but in this example here we're going to utilize it lengthening. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to click on the time, and I've decided that 6:30 p.m. is when I actually want to finish off my monitored session here. So the form is similar in that it has the same fields that can be filled out. I'm just updating my time. I can go ahead and hit update sign off, and that's going to allow me to update that time where I plan to finish my monitored session. We talked about the manual location on the sign-on form. It exists here as well on the main app screen if you're going to do a check-in, and again you get that feedback that your device doesn't have an accurate GPS location. You will still be able to do the check-in. It's just going to look to have you add a manual location, so be as descriptive as you can to give information in the event something does occur, that the monitor will be able to see where that location is if there isn't an accurate GPS utilizing the manual location, and then it will allow you to go ahead and press your check-in. We also have a comment section, so as you're doing a check-in, as you're utilizing the modes, which we're going to touch on in a moment here, you do have the ability to add comments, context, or you even actually have the ability for attachments or photos. So depending on the use case you're utilizing this app for, there may come a point where you want to put a comment in with your check-in, or you want to attach a photo with your check-in, or a mode that we're going to utilize. And again, the photo portion may have more bearing on the hazard or the assist mode, but we'll touch on that in a little bit here. From the purposes of just doing a check-in with a comment, perhaps it's we're going to go ahead and tap on comment, and we're going to add a new comment here. Checking in, all fine. So I'm going to go ahead, I press the little plus on that comment there, and now has it as a comment, and it'll cache the comments that you do utilize as you utilize the app and put more in here. I'm going to apply that, and then of course if I go ahead and I press the check-in button, that's going to send my comment through with that check-in. So again, just some additional context, or if you want to put a comment in with the check-ins that you do send through, you have the ability to do so. I talked about different modes being available, so we can see down here we have 3 main modes that you have access to as you're utilizing the app. There's assist, there's hazard, and there's emergency. We're going to go through each one of these. So the first one we have assist, and the way we like to classify or talk about that is a non-medical emergency, or I need assistance but I'm not in a life-threatening position. So if we tap on assist, we're going to see that the yellow circles around it, highlighting that I want to utilize that. A couple things have changed on the screen here. So one, we see the start assist portion, as well as a comment is required. So we touched on comment a little while ago, just to show how it's utilized. But now it's actually required when we're utilizing this mode, because we need to give context to why we need assistance. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on my comment. And let's say, we'll use an example here, I have a flat tire. So I'm going to add that comment in. I'm going to apply that comment. So I have a comment in that field. It is a required field as we talked about. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Start Assist. So the app's going to change slightly here in that rather than the green we have along the top letting us know that we're online monitored in a normal state, we can see it's taken this yellow color to it, and it's giving me the notion that I am in an assist. I've sent it through, and this is the assist mode here. So it looks very similar. I'm sending this through. You will get feedback at the top where it says assist when an agent has taken control of that assist you've sent through, and then from there your escalation plan, that set policy, would take over from that standpoint. If I no longer need the assist, things are good, I've been in contact with the agent, the plan's in motion, I can come out of the assist mode on the app, I can go ahead and I can hit cancel. It's going to ask me to confirm. Yes, I confirmed I no longer need assistance, and I go back to my normally monitored. The next mode beside that down on the bottom, probably the most utilized mode in SafetyAware, so we have the hazard mode. I'm going to tap on this. This one has an orange color to coordinate with it. What the hazard mode allows me to do is, if I am going into a situation that I know could be more hazardous, or there's more likelihood of something to go sideways and happen, and I may need assistance quicker than, in this example, the 2-hour check-in safety timer I have the ability here to select how long I want my hazard mode with this drop-down. So let's say 30 minutes. And I'm going to add a comment, because again, it's required for the mode here. And for this comment here, we're just going to do, let's put site visit as an example. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that comment. And we can now see here, I'm going to utilize the hazard for 30 minutes. I've put a comment in to put context. And what I'll do is I'll hit start hazard. Once I have done that, you can see the change here in that I'm in hazard mode. Now this isn't going to send off a notification to the monitor side in any way. This is just letting them know and puts me in that heightened state of I'm in a position where I am at heightened risk and something may occur. I may need assistance quicker than the safety timer that we have set, in this example 30 minutes. So it's going to allow me to have that shorter timer, go about my business, and just give that peace of mind that I am in a hazard mode, and through those that are monitoring me, they can see that, so they can keep an eye on me and be able to check back in as needed. If I allow this to expire, again, the policy that is set by your organization will take over for if there's an expired hazard event. But the other side of that is perhaps I'm doing what I am required to do in this hazard. We use the site visit as the example, but it's running a little bit longer. I need more time. I'm still in a hazardous position. Something could happen. But what I want to do is extend my timer here. So what I can do is I can add a comment of need additional time. I'm going to apply that. And then where our check-in button usually is now a reset the hazard timer. So if I click on that with my comment in of need additional time, we can see it's reset my hazard timer to the 30 minutes again that I started with, and it's sent through the context of I'm just needing additional time with the hazard that I'm currently in. Once we finish up what we're doing, we can go ahead and hit cancel. That will cancel the hazard timer and put us back in our normally monitored state, the safety timer back to the 2 hours and counting down. The last mode we see here is emergency, and this is the SOS, I need help, please get me some help at this time at my location. So a couple things happen in this context. If I click on this, we're going to see I can start an emergency immediately by pressing the big red button, or there is a countdown in case I mistakenly may have grazed that and pressed that and I don't need to send an emergency through. You have the ability to tap on the emergency again and it doesn't send that through. It turns that off. But if I do tap on that, I either let the timer come down or I hit start emergency. That will send through emergency. I need help. The policy or plan that is in place from your organization standpoint for an SOS or an emergency will kick in at this point. The agents are going to follow that, and generally they will try and get in touch with you and see if they can get some more context and get help to your location immediately. But again, this is the I need help SOS, please send to where I am. You can stop an emergency. You can come out of an emergency, so I can go ahead and hit stop. That puts me back into that normally monitored state. But again, if you do send through an emergency, these are taken very seriously. So generally there will be follow-up, and they will probably reach out from a monitor standpoint just to make sure everything's okay. If it was a false alarm, then you can let them know at that time. But just bear in mind, emergency mode is the I need help SOS assistance. The day's coming to an end. We're getting close to our 6:30 sign off in this example, and I'm ready to be able to sign off from my monitored session. So the same button we utilized to sign on, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click it, and we're going to get to the sign off form. Again, those options are there, manual location or a comment. I'm going to just add a comment here, end of shift, and I'm going to go ahead and hit sign off. What that does is puts us back in that not monitored state on the main app screen. And then the last thing I need to do is click on this little gear icon in the top right hand corner, come all the way down and log back out. So we're back on the main app screen and we're ready to log in and be able to sign on. Thank you everybody for watching this video. I hope it was insightful and provided some information on how SafetyAware is utilized day in and day out. I hope you all have a safe day. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.